Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. We continue our 1994 week for our 52-year journey through film, and this is our third installment in our Jim Carrey trilogy. Today we're discussing Dumb and Dumber, and I am joined by Joseph George. What is up, homie?
What up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. We're topping off our trilogy of Jim Carrey movies here this week, and there's no dumber spot than Dumb and Dumber. This is as stupid as it gets, and I love it.
It's just it's in the name, you know.
Exactly.
There's nothing. I don't know. I wonder what this movie was like whenever it first came out, like what people were expecting to get into. Because I imagine, like, if seeing this in theaters, because I don't know, you laugh a little more in theaters, and you're a little more prone to like laugh.
It's the everyone's there. It's the same thing that happens at a comedy show. Like, you watch stand-up comedy at home by yourself, you probably aren't laughing. But if you've ever been to a comedy show, there might be something that hits as a mediocre joke when you're at home watching on TV. Yeah. It makes you laugh your ass off when you're at a comedy show.
Thing is here, though, is that, like, I actually was laughing at home by myself watching this movie. So,
yeah,
you know,
last night, man, there are some parts in this movie that just fucking get me, dude. It is the funniest shit. But let's lay the groundwork real quick. Dumb and Dumber released December 16th, 1994, written and directed by Peter Farrelly. And there's a couple more writers, Bennett Yellen and Bobby Farrelly brothers, I'm assuming. And interesting. Looking at some of the other stuff they've done, they produced There's Something About Mary, Green Book, which just won Best Picture a couple years ago. They wrote Green Book. That's crazy.
Dang. Wow. Who would have thought? Yeah,
they also wrote one of the worst movies of all time that we were going to cover on this podcast and then didn't, Hall Pass from 2011.
Wow.
Produced Movie 43. Holy shit, they've done a lot of comedy that I've watched. That's crazy.
Dang.
But yeah, this is it's an absurd movie. It's they just don't do it like this anymore, you know, and like not on this level, you know. Like we got two relatively big actors in Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. Like these are famous actors, and Jeff Daniels is more so known for his drama work than he is his comedy, which is just insane that he's playing Harry here. But you know, you don't get actors that are serious about their drama doing dumb shit like this anymore, because comedies generally aren't making a lot of money in theaters. You know, if you're watching a good comedy, you're probably catching it as a Netflix original or some shit like that, because that's kind of the more popular vein for comedy these days. But man, I wish we just had some fucking big actors going toe to toe and just a stupid fucking comedy, you know.
See, I wonder what the like the equivalent of if Dumb and Dumber were to be made today, who would be cast? Which would be interesting. You know, like the funny guy, you know, the Jim Carrey role.
Yeah.
Probably just still Jim Carrey.
Probably still Jim Carrey.
So, but if we couldn't choose Jim Carrey, I'm trying to think of like a funny, like, young-ish, you know, kind of need to be like I guess like in this. I get not
young. They're probably 30s in this at least.
But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could see someone who I've always admired for their comedy work, but has gotten more steam, it seems like, for their serious work, is Chris Evans. I think Chris Evans in the Harry role could be really funny.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
The dude's
Just
super fucking funny,
Hmm.
and like he gets a lot of gas for being, you know, Captain America and in Knives Out and stuff. And in Knives Out, he's a little funnier, but that's the shit where he's in like Not Another Teen Movie, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. The roles he's playing in those are fucking funny, and I think he could kill something like this. But nevertheless, if you like, if we're talking scenes that are making you laugh from this movie, what's got you rolling on the floor? Like, there was one part for me that I was just fucking laughing my ass off.
I think I know. I think you told me the part.
Yes, I texted you as I was watching. I was like, this might be the funniest scene in any movie ever.
One of the arcs, it's kind of like not a moment, but one of the arcs that I love the most is the dead bird to the blind kid. And like,
oh my God,
how it like pops up every now and then. Because it gives like, whoever Mary's like, that dude was, you know, that, that
husband?
The case belonged to, it wasn't her. Was it her, like, because her husband shows up at the end.
Yeah.
And like the guy that was like I don't know who, I guess just the guy who was supposed to get the money, you know,
Gotcha.
whoever that guy is, you know, and they see it on TV, you know, like it shows like a news thing and it's like someone dead and blind kid tricked into buying a bird. And then that's what like makes them go like, it's an obvious message. We killed one of their birds. Now they killed one of ours. These guys are good. And it's just like I don't know.
Gas
like,
man? They've been trailing us for weeks. How could they know I have gas?
Just like, oh my God. Yeah, like the gas bill. We can't pay the gas bill. You know, what are we going to do? So they leave a note. And like, I don't know. Like, just.
We got no food? We got no jobs? Our pets' heads are falling off?
Like, I think the funniest parts are just the complete accidents, you know, that are just misunderstandings. It's, I don't know.
They accidentally murder a man because he has stomach ulcers.
And he was there to murder them.
Yeah.
You know, and so it like, they just seemed like mega spy geniuses, you know, in every way possible.
And like there was one good idea in this movie. And it was when Jim Carrey went up to the counter and said that their bill was going to get picked up by fucking sea bass. That was like the smartest thing anyone did in this movie, and that was it.
That's true. That was actually kind of a smart move. Got reunited, you know, later on.
Yeah, got a little bit of a payback there.
Find a happy place. Find a happy place. Find a happy place.
Oh no.
But wow, yeah, this I don't know, like there wasn't, you know, in some of these, some of the jokes were a little, you could tell 90s.
Oh, certainly. There's
with, you know, sexism and stuff, but there wasn't too many, you know.
No, you know, like I was surprised. I hadn't watched this movie in a really long time, a good 7 or 8 years. You know, I was 14 or 15, so like you know, immature sense of humor and stuff. I probably thought there were certain moments in this that probably got bigger laughs out of me then than they did now. You know, it's very, very 90s. There's zero doubt. But it aged better than I'd say The Mask did. Certainly, I think Ace Ventura even had some moments that were probably a little bit more problematic than anything in this. Even though I think firmly after watching all three, Ace Ventura is my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, that is just it's got it all in Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective,
and that poster. I mean, this poster is cool.
Yeah, you know, it's classic, and it's like the Step Brothers poster before the Step Brothers poster.
That's a good like Dumb and Dumber walks so that Step Brothers could fly. Yeah. Or like that. Like I never thought about that. Like this is like really Step Brothers before Step Brothers. Like wow, I just never.
Yeah, you know, they like that was the modern take on Dumb and Dumber. Was Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
I guess there you go. Yeah, there it is.
Nevertheless, though, a couple of big ass comedians, and it was 2008 when they did that, when this comedy still kind of existed. That like even Will Ferrell's not doing a lot of theater movies anymore. I think the closest thing you get is like Adam Sandler with his straight to Netflix movies.
Okay, one line that I was wondering if it originated from this movie was the Shih Tzu, and like if the bullshit
Bullshit.
dog, if that originated from, because I remember like saying that as a kid, like hearing that and like that joke, like
Oh, it sent me, but like, what it might have been, like
mating between a bulldog and a Shih Tzu. I think that's I wonder. I mean, if that is the origin, that is kind of wild. There's a lot of like these crazy sayings that we've heard like in these previous movies that were like, no way, this is the origin, right?
right.
And then like it turns out to be. Doesn't look like this one is.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing too, is that like it would be pretty in character of Harry to tell a joke that is not the funniest and not very original. He's just a dumbass, so he's going with a really simple joke with what do you get when you mix a bulldog and a Shih Tzu?
Yeah, trying not the best wingman, not the best wingman.
No, but it's funny watching the women like in this movie admire Harry and Lloyd at points, just because there is something to the simplicity and like them being so simpletons. It's like, you know what? You're too cute. You're like too dumb. You're too dumb to be mean to me. You're too dumb to be cute.
It's almost like they're too dumb that they're not seeming dumb, and it's acting like they're doing it on purpose,
right?
Because like
they're like caricatures. So like it's
like Mary says she's in the in the Ferrari with Harry. He's dropping her off at the house, and she's like, "So you'll pick me up, 6:45, right? Like we'll or 7:45. We'll continue this." And he's like, "I got some stuff to do. I don't know. Maybe we could do 7:45 or whatever." Like he like legit just. And Mary's like reaction is kind of like, "Oh, you silly, like whatever." And he's like, "All right, whatever. We can do 7:45, whatever. Or we can do 7:45, whatever." And it's just like
the other one where like they're at the gas station and his leg catches on fire and he's managing to get her number though. She's like, and that was the thing. She was like, "You seem harmless, like you're kind of goofy and cute. I could see us hanging out a little bit."
Yeah,
but,
she said like, "My therapist told me not to go for any more accident-prone guys," and then he just leans on the mirror and just breaks it, and then like stands back up. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is loose. You gotta fix that." And like she's like, "Oh yeah, I can give you my number. Yeah, what's up?" I mean, turns out to be an FBI agent, or whatever,
pretty important,
whoever she ended up working for. But
I think it was the FBI. Hooked him up with a bulletproof vest and everything. But no, yeah, and it's funny because Harry is dumb. He's definitely the dumb of the Dumb and Dumber. Because there's even a moment in this where, like Lloyd doesn't know the word "the" reading.
The newspaper. Yeah, that's true. He struggled reading that newspaper headline. Like "the" was the hardest word for him too.
And then Harry just grabs it and is like, "Oh, there's this is going on," and it's just like, oh wow. So I think I know who the dumber is in this equation.
Yeah, and whenever Lloyd accidentally drives 6 hours in the wrong direction, and then they start walking their separate ways, he gets the bike, and then
west, Lloyd, go west.
No, but he's like, just when I thought you couldn't get any dumber, you do something like this and totally redeem yourself, he's like, "Yes, let's go. Oh my God, this is the best thing."
You traded a van for this tiny bike, and then they're
70 miles to the gallon on this thing. Yeah,
like fucking frozen, riding it through Colorado.
Just go, man. Just go, man. Oh, that's warm. Oh yeah, take this extra pair of gloves I had this whole time.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna kill you, Lloyd.
I'm gonna kill you. Then they find all that fucking money, and it's like, of course, and the fact that they convinced themselves that they would pay it back with IOUs
on napkins and anything they could find too. The Ferrari or whatever. I mean, I guess it was only $250,000, which is like, that's a pretty good deal for a Ferrari. I don't know. Maybe I guess I don't really know the average going price for a Ferrari. I don't really look
Yeah,
at
I don't
that
know.
too
Like
much.
I just associate Ferraris with like millions of dollars.
I
Like you
guess this
probably
is
have tons of money.
94 as well. So like, that's still, I mean, that's a lot of money, but that was
That's a
written
lot of
on
money
a
now
dirty
too.
napkin, like straight up. He's like, better hang on to this one, for 250,000, whatever.
They're laying in bed crying to a commercial, wiping their tears with $100 bills.
Oh man. And like, I, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't seem that like this comedy exists anymore. I don't know. This is like, it's just timeless comedy. You don't like, there's really not a joke of the time in here, really.
It's just slapstick comedy, and
It's
it's
just so stupid that it's funny. Like,
yeah, and it's hard to do well.
mm,
Like this is one of the better examples of a slapstick comedy, Like there's a lot of physical comedy as we see with like Jim Carrey's whole fucking dream sequence where he gets into a giant fucking brawl and he does like like he's doing all this very physical comedy shit that like you just don't get a lot of anymore. And Jim Carrey, one of the greatest ever at physical comedy. This dude's body's fucking crazy. But
I don't think you got to mention your favorite or your funniest part yet.
Oh yes, my favorite part, far and away. Well, and that's what's funny is like there's like a 7 or 8 minute sequence like right in a row where they're in the car, and Lloyd's got to piss, and like this is coming straight off of them having ditched Seabass. Like this is a really strong part of the movie. They ditched Seabass, and he's like they're miles down the road. He's like, no, later they caught up to him and slit their throats. And Harry's like, well, Jesus Christ, Lloyd. And then, Lloyd's got to piss. So he gets a bottle, and he's starting to fill up the bottle, and he's like, I gotta give me another. And he gets another, and then we flash. And Harry's holding like 4 fucking bottles. And naturally they get pulled over for the disaster occurring here. This guy pulls the cop here. Fucking outstanding. This might be the best guest role in any comedy ever with like so little screen time.
Oh yeah. He killed it. Like this situation.
Pull over. No, it's a cardigan, but thanks for noticing.
Oh man. Like every line, they just have it like something for everything. Every single situation.
It's outstanding. Yeah, killer boots, man.
Yeah, looks at the car. He just sees like 7 bottles just chilling there, like in the middle.
Been doing a bit of boozing, have you? Sucking back on Grandpa's old cough medicine? Well, what's that? Oh, that's nothing, sir. Like, what are you going to tell him? Yeah, we pissed in all those bottles. And he's like, it's illegal to do that. And then, naturally takes a sip. They've been telling him, don't do that. And the face he makes, that fucking shit. And then he like, Tic Tac, sir? Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's ooh.
Oh my god, that shit is the funniest stuff of the entire movie.
Story. I had the weirdest cop interaction of my entire life last night.
Last night?
Yeah, last night. I'm driving home. It's like, I don't know, 11, maybe midnight. No one's like really on the road at all. I'm the only one. I have my cruise control set to like 70 or something like that, maybe even 69 for the meme. So I'm like, I'm not speeding, or like I'm going 4 or 5 over. And I'm driving. I'm the only one. I see a cop on the side of the road, like pulled, like, to get people for speeding. And so I turn my cruise control off, and I go down to like below 65 even, because I'm like, I'm not getting pulled over. Like, screw this. For going 4 over, 5 over, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, we'll slow down, whatever. And he like turns on his lights and pulls me over anyways. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I'm about to be like, yo, like, dude, I've never like been pulled over for actually not doing anything wrong. Every time I've been pulled over, I was legitimately speeding, and like 96 one time is like that's the only time I've gotten pulled over. I was legitimately, but this time, no. And he gets to my window, and I'm expecting him to be like, how fast you were going back there? And he just immediately says, I was a little bored tonight, and I'm sorry. I really kind of wanted to pull someone over. And I just was like, okay. Like, I didn't know what to say. And he's like, are you thirsty? And I was like, he saw like my water bottle and my cup holder and it was empty. He's like, and I was like, I mean, I guess. He goes back to his car, grabs me a Gatorade, gives it to me, and just says, all right, you're free to go. And I was just like, did this really happen? Am I like, was this a legitimate thing that happened on the side of the road in the high? People were just like going by, you know, they probably legitimately thought I was going to ticket or something. Dude gave me a Gatorade and I was free to go.
That makes me irrationally angry.
Like,
I would have been like, are you fucking serious, sir?
Like I'm trying to get home. My mother is like waiting for me to get home. Like it's like past, like late, and like she's waiting because she doesn't go to sleep until I get home. And I'm like, after this was over, I called my mom, and I'm like, you are not going to believe me. Like there's no way that you're going to believe me. But like I didn't get a ticket, you know, nothing. So like he's, you know, I don't know. It was just the weirdest, like,
I fucking
interaction last
hate
night.
that. Just because it was just like a cop being like, I'm going to do this because I can do this. You know, like, if anyone else is ever just like, I don't know, I felt like stopping your car. That's a problem. You know, it's like, get the fuck away from me. I'm like, going to go ahead and keep driving, asshole.
I was doing so good. I was cruise controlling. It's just like a straight shot. I was vibing. I was jamming. And then I see the lights come on. I'm like, oh, I'm fucked, you know? Like, he's going to give me a ticket. I'm screwed. I don't even know what I did. It's probably tags or something. I don't know.
Right.
You thirsty? You want a Gatorade? Sure.
Go fuck yourself.
Yes, I didn't want to say no to a cop, you know, because like I didn't know if I said no if he'd be like, all right, I'll be right back, you know, with like so I just like went along with everything.
Exactly. And, you know, that's my thing is that I think it was just a dude who was like, I'm going to go ahead and assert my power right quick. I'm going to pull this guy over. I'm going to ask him if he wants a drink. He'll say yes, and I'm going to give him a fucking drink. Like, I don't know. That's just weird behavior.
Guess I enjoy the Gatorade. You know, it's blue.
I mean, like,
Gatorade,
it's a really, like, convoluted thing there. Just like, I'm going to give you a Gatorade, man.
But it was like, it was just so weird going from that and then watching Dumb and Dumber and then seeing that cop scene and then you texting me being like, yo, this scene is like fucking hilarious. And I'm like, what is going on tonight? You know, like what's up?
What
like with
fuck
these
is
cops?
happening?
Like,
that is so funny. No, that's hilarious. I've never heard of a cop interaction like that. I've only ever been pulled over twice. And both times I was in the same neighborhood. It's like a little private neighborhood with its own little private police around a lake. I won't mention it by name just because. And they have their own little police force. And I ran a stop sign once. I rolled a stop sign, you know, and they got my ass for that. I was like, all right, fine, that's cool. You know, I did roll the stop sign. So every time I'm in that neighborhood now, you know, like I am stopping. I stop for like 5 seconds. Just to be a smart ass, especially if I see a cop, so naturally I get to a stop sign once and there's a cop right there and I'm like, this fucker's not going to have anything on me. I stop and then, I pull out of the neighborhood and woo, woo, woo. And I'm like, what the fuck? Ain't no fucking way. And he pulls up on the other side of my car, like with a flashlight, like pointing it at like my trunk and stuff. And then he like holds the flashlight in my face and goes, you have a taillight out. And I was like, fuck you, guy. Like, I was like, damn, man, I'm sorry. Like, I'll go get it fixed. And he was like, all right.
Yeah. I didn't mean for that. You know, sorry. I turned it off earlier. I'll turn it back on, you know, like,
right.
Yeah. I don't know. Like just being pulled over for like the most mundane things. Like, it's just they got nothing better to do.
And I just really thought it was funny that I like really thought I was getting his ass.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. You know, he wouldn't have pulled me over for going 69 or 70, whatever, like on the highway. People do that all the time. But you know,
it's
slower.
almost like, good that you did slow down because like if he was urging to pull someone over and you were going 69, you probably would have gotten a ticket.
True. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just what a night. It was just never expected to get a Gatorade from a policeman, but at least I didn't give him a pee bottle, you know? At least I didn't make him drink piss.
I mean, maybe you should have.
I mean, I'm glad that the Gatorade was like it. I made sure it was like sealed and like it cracked. I still did like I don't know. I only drank like a couple sips and I just felt weird with it.
No, yeah,
But, yeah,
and
I don't know.
see, that is indicative of a problem in and of itself. That a cop could give you a Gatorade and you still felt the need to do that.
Yeah,
Like, be like, I got to make sure this is okay. Like,
because
that's a little bit of indicative of a problem, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it was just wow. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like just a Dumb and Dumber situation. Like it just shouldn't.
It really
like,
could just
have
be like
happened.
straight out of a fucking movie, like where you're just like, what the fuck was that even?
Yeah, I literally just called my mom. That was like all I knew what to do. He's like, all right, you're free to go. And I'm like, I didn't even drive. Like I didn't even go. I just called my mom. I'm like what the what? And then he pulled out, and then I drove after him. So like he was probably like, I don't know, but
that is so fucking funny.
Yeah,
no, yeah, that's crazy. The things Dumb and Dumber can spark,
Mm-hmm.
relevant stories. But no, yeah, this movie's overall story though. The premise that Lloyd gives a ride to a woman early on in the day, and she says something to him, and that's enough. She spoke to me, Harry, and Harry's like, what? No way! Like she talked to you? And that was enough for him to go like, yeah, you know what? It probably is serious, which is just hilarious. Just a couple of incels.
My name, like, like every moment they have between her. Oh, and like you find out the actual reason why he's going for her. Like in the owl thing, whatever. Yep. And he's like, I would do it. Like it seemed like it was all out of love, and like he was, doing it as romantically. He's like, and then I just knew. I'd do anything to bone her, like, and it's like, oh man, like really, I was kind of, I was rooting for you there. This was, a good part.
No, yeah, and that's one of those. That was one of those just thoroughly '90s jokes where it was like, I just knew I had to bone her. But
and
that's what's funny is that like
Lloyd. 90s, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
That was just a '90s joke that seemed like a '90s joke, but then turned, itself around. Was, I think Harry was like, wow, look at the butt on that. And then Floyd goes, yeah, he must work out. Like just a little, I mean, there is, another moment where
there are a couple of actual,
like, wow, yes, like straight
look
up.
Look at that random woman who was walking past us. But yeah, those were rough. But, in the 90s comedy, especially with a couple of, dumbasses who clearly are craving the affection of women. And obviously one scene that stuck with me throughout the entirety of time, no matter how many times I watched this movie when I was little, like I might have watched it once or twice when I was a young child, but I always remembered that Harry shit so much.
And that toilet doesn't work. Yeah,
that doesn't work.
That is a very memorable part of the movie. And like,
it's because it's a nightmare scenario.
Yeah, blown it. Yeah, even like whenever she says the toilet doesn't work, like shining music, horror music plays, and he's like, he's like, no. And then he looks down at what he just did, and he's like, oh God. It's like, oh God, this is just terrible.
Sabotage.
He lucked out.
No.
Oh
yeah, he certainly did. I think it's absolutely hilarious too that Lloyd and Harry have also, been problematic for one another's relationships in the past. The fact that Harry had a former lover who fell in love with Lloyd or something.
Yeah, and Harry said, Harry was like, I know the whole story. You can't lie to me, you French tickler, or something like. He called him like the French tickler or something like that. Oh man, and like whenever Lloyd goes over to Mary's house and then sees Harry leaving, and then he just starts to cry, but then he starts like, like throwing up, like starting to like I don't know, just his mannerisms. Like he could have just cried. And like got the point across, but the dude started to gag, and like
this made me want to vomit.
It's just so like, I don't know, like there's this certain, like I would never like think of that. That's just so like little details like that just add like, comedy
so much
everywhere.
to a character.
Yeah, and
Because like, and I'd be willing to bet like, there's probably a script, that, but these characters are cultivated by Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. Like, in any actor scenario these performances by anyone else, they're not the same. Like Jim Carrey has to be Lloyd and Jeff Daniels had to be Harry. It just made sense.
I wonder how many takes they had to take, like how long this movie took to film. Like, because I mean, I could see like the actors doing a good job and like actually like keeping it in because that's their job, But like everyone on set, how do you not just like lose
die?
it? Like how like I don't know, because I would assume some of it's improv and they like there's like I was like kind of watching the movie a little closer and there's some parts that like they kind of end it very abruptly. Like after the joke is said, they kind of like move on quickly, and like I was thinking, like it's probably because like it was improv and no one expected it, and everyone just started dying like on the set, because like you're getting a true performance like right there, like in everyone watching, which was just like one of the ones that like kind of this was in the script, but I'm just looking at like all the quotes like on IMDb to like kind of remind me of all like these the funny moments, and it's after he gets stood up. Or stood up in the bar.
Yeah.
And he's walking out to go to Mary's house. And he sees the newspaper hanging up on the wall. And it says, like, we've landed on the moon. And he goes out in the lobby. He goes,
we landed on
the moon. Like, I don't know. Like, I just love, like, just scrolling through these quotes. Like, because every, like, moment in the movie, like, there's not, like, a dull. Like there's no dull point. And, like,
they made a joke of every scene. Like they every scene's a joke because these characters are so innately ridiculous. Like
even when they had to just sleep in a motel, they had to like just pass the time for it to be daytime. They had to go to sleep. They had to have like a couple's anniversary motel room with a heart-shaped jacuzzi, and
and it,
he's
like vibrated and everything.
Yeah. And I don't know, just so. It's my dad's favorite comedy of all time. He loves this movie.
It's like undeniably a classic. Yeah, my dad introduced this to me when I was younger as well, and it's definitely a classic.
The tuxedos. Oh
my god, iconic.
Like there was a point in my life where I was like, okay, if I go to a dance,
I'm gonna rock the Dumb and Dumber suit.
Like this is a very big possibility.
This is a pretty universal man experience in America. Universal white man experience in America to go, I'm gonna rock the Dumb and Dumber suits with my best friend at prom one day.
They come in fighting, with their canes like lightsaber. They're like lightsaber dueling.
And then Harry just knocks the shit out of him at the end of that. Like he was like, man, and the way that Harry would just always take it way too far. Like if you did like one physical thing to him, he took that shit personal and he was gonna react. And the way he grabbed that snowball and chucked it at that chick's face.
Loaded up. He full. He threw that as hard as he could, man. That was, oh my god. And then he tackles her, shoves her head like into the snow, and then he gets up and he's like, "All right, come at me. I'm ready to go." and then he, oh man, like,
oh my god. Excuse me, little old lady, do you have change for $1? Change? No, I'm sorry, I don't. Well, can you do me a favor and watch my stuff here while I go break $1? Of course. Thanks. Hey, I guess they're right. Senior citizens, although slow and dangerous behind the wheel, can still serve a purpose. I'll be right back. Don't you go dying on me.
Yeah. Wow.
Damn.
Great job. That one was pretty obvious. That old lady. She just, that smile she gave, just that grin, like, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, asshole.
And he goes back, like every time they like go back to their place and they just sit down and it's like, what happened to you today? Like, how was your day? And, Lloyd was like, I don't know, you fell onto the runway again, as he, like when he ran through the thing, like trying to get on the plane comes back and he's like, I got robbed by this sweet old lady. She took it, like just all these.
Where's the booze? Got robbed by a sweet old lady on a motorized cart. I didn't even see it coming.
Yeah, there it is. They're in the car driving with Gas Man, and they're just going off. Like, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world, or like, mock, yeah, yeah, like, and this dude's just like,
oh my, he's like, I will kill you here and now. And then they just happen upon a family of hitchhikers, and that's what saves their lives. Like, and they're so dumb that they're just like, you know what, this is fun as fuck. Let's go pick up more people. Like that's so funny.
And selling the blind bird, actually, it made him $25. And Harry was like, all right, well, we only got to get the essentials. This is like right before the old lady, right? And then you see him walk out with the massive cowboy hat, the like ball on the the paddle thing, like just coming out with the
absolute essentials.
God, it's like it's just full of just iconic moments. Like, it's just insane. Like, reading through these quotes and then realizing, like, oh yeah, that was a part of. So this
you're
movie.
saying
like,
there's a chance?
More like 1 in a million.
Husband, what was all this 1 in a million talk?
God, like,
and after one of my favorite like little moments in this movie is when after they're fighting, because Harry is like, you had an extra set of gloves this whole fucking time, right? And he starts choking him on the table, and Lloyd's like, Harry, your hands are freezing. Oh
God, it's like, what is the opposite of self-aware? Like, is there like a it's just
a complete
unaware,
lack of self-awareness.
Just unaware, I don't know, like it's just, that's what this movie is. They just are not aware of what they're doing, but it just makes them geniuses in the process. Like,
it's outstanding.
Like, wow, Harry, what a wingman you are. You just set up yourself with a date, and you're going to stand me up. This calls for celebration. Like, let me open this bottle real quick. Oopsies. And like, wow, this party really died. Like, and then they walk out like, oh my God. Oh,
wow, this party really died.
Yeah, whenever Harry walks over to Mary, he's about to do the thing, and Floyd's like, all right, let me I'll be at the bar putting out the vibe, and he's leaning back on the bar, look at all.
Yeah, he's got the whole fucking thing going on. Another one of my favorite parts is is like when it's the most underrated part of the dream sequence. Everyone remembers the fight where he rips the dude's heart out of the chest. But I think my favorite part of the dream sequence is when he's imagining being with Mary's family and telling them jokes. And they're just like super not funny. And like I said, do you love me? And she said, no, but that's a really nice ski mask. And then they all start like laughing their asses off. He puts his finger to someone's chest and swipes up. No, yeah. And then sits down, lights a fart with a flame, and throws shit at his face. Like, it's just like, oh, so he's just like, he's not funny, but wants to be thought of as funny. And doesn't even know what he would begin to do to be funny.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
It's all kind of cute.
Oh man, it's just like, there's so many parts of this movie. Like, it's just one thing after the other. It's just like a huge. I'm trying to think of like another movie that's like this. It really, like, and I was like thinking, as a comedy, we'll eventually, get to the ratings here, and I'm like,
frankly, I don't think there's a ton to talk about here. Like, the ratings probably aren't too far off.
And I was thinking of like, as a comedy, like, where does this stack up, in all of comedy? And whenever I think of comedies, I think of Dumb and Step Brothers pops to my mind first. that just because that's what I grew up with, what was iconic to me, you know, like nostalgia right there. I kind of go to Dumb and Dumber next, like, is the thing.
Yeah,
just
Dumb
because
and
of
Dumber
like,
is, especially in slapstick comedy, you know, like it's not just that's a thing with modern comedy. I think that it's obviously not bad because I love it, but smart comedy, like people feel like they've got to be smart with their comedy in order for it to be good. There is nothing smart about this comedy. It is dumb as fuck, and they know it, and they're leaning into it, and you just don't get a lot of that anymore. So, like, leaning into that and being a slapstick comedy, it improves its genre rating like crazy because it truly is nothing but a comedy. There's not a dull moment in this that isn't. And at the very end, you know, when they have the opportunity to go with the girls and be their oil boys or whatever. And you'll find a town down that way. Like that's funny fucking shit. And I think it stands to reason to
my
say
friend, the town is that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you crazy? Yeah, I'd say even more so than Ace Ventura and The Mask. This is a more genre defining comedy for sure.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I was thinking, do I give it a 5? Like, is this a perfect comedy?
That's the thing with comedy; it's so fucking hard because it's so broad.
Yeah. I mean, comedy's like the story is there, but it's not like it's just kind of to push the comedy along.
Yeah.
So every comedy's like so different. And
like
I mean,
the earliest comedy on our list, MASH. That is not at all the same kind of movie that this is.
That's true. That is very true. Yeah. I mean, I guess if we're saying, you know, this did better as a comedy than Ace Ventura, then that leaves the floor at 4.75, which I was already there kind of anyways.
Yeah.
Sure. I was more like in the 4.8, like 4.9.
4.9. Yeah, like
range, so.
That's the thing is that, like, when it comes to comedy, I think the best comparison for its purely just dumbassness is Spaceballs. And it's immensely better than Spaceballs.
That is
so
true.
like it has to that's a perfect example of like a similar type of comedy just going for something super dumb that is not as well executed.
That is wow. How do we forget about Spaceballs until now? That's like a perfect example. And now we have the movie that did it perfectly. Exactly. That actually executed on it well. So
so I'd definitely go high 4s, if not 5. And that's the thing is, like, I don't know that there is a 5 out of 5 comedy. Like, that's just so.
It's all subjective too, like comedy is. So yeah, having a 5 out of 5 comedy, that you have to like do something that's like insane. But I mean, yeah, giving this a 4.8 or 4.9, I think is like, it's still doing it justice.
That's probably about as close as any movie in the comedy genre will probably get, just because, like, I don't know how to define a perfect comedy. That's just so hard to say.
And I guess, like, we give it a 4.8, that just like barely nudges it over Ace Ventura, right? Like,
that's probably where I'm feeling, you know.
And it's like pretty much like it's a Jim Carrey performance, but you have another performance on top of it, you know, and it's just pure funny. It does barely edge it out, and like
that's a good question here. What is your favorite Jim Carrey role of the ones we got?
Ooh.
Stanley Ipkiss, Ace Ventura, or Lloyd Christmas?
I mean, I think it has to be Ace Ventura. If it's Jim Carrey, like, Ace Ventura. He owns it, you know, like that's him. That's all him in that movie. So definitely favorite Ace Ventura, but funniest probably Dumb and Dumber, I would say. I don't know.
And I think there's definitely a reason it's funnier, though, is that there's like there's a partner in all of it. There's someone for him to play off of the entire movie. And I think that's really important, and it elevates the comedy. However, enjoyment wise, Ace Ventura, That's a much more fun character than Stanley Ipkiss or Lloyd Christmas for my money.
This was a very, very fun movie. That's the whole point, of the movies, just to sit back, relax, have a good laugh, and just realize how stupid all these situations are.
Right.
No, like even after watching the movie, knowing what it fully is, and you have you still enjoy it. Like it's still yeah, I will watch this again eventually, for sure.
No doubt. I've watched it 3 times in the last couple months because we've thought we were going to do this for a while.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I have no issue revisiting it. There are some movies where I've already watched it that I'm kind of like, damn, I'm going to have to watch it again by the time we talk about it.
It's almost like you can pull a new joke or something you missed every time you watch it. Sometimes I don't know. It's just a timeless movie. I don't think this will ever go out of style. I think it'll always be looked at as a classic comedy. I mean, I guess it did come out in '94. It's not like we're talking of The Godfather back in the '70s being a classic movie, But I mean, it's about the time where it's becoming, classic, I'd say.
Be sure, yeah, I don't think a movie needs to be a certain age to reach classic status. I do think it's subjective based upon when you were born and stuff. I think us being born in the 2000s makes us more inclined to go 90s are classics.
True. I mean, I was looking forward in the list, and I don't know why, what I'm talking about, Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction, all these
Redemption.
The Matrix, all of these legitimate classics that I'm
they're all coming already in the 90s.
And even further on down the list.
Jurassic Park, Goodfellas, all 90s.
I think time really doesn't matter, and the 90s are 30 years ago now, which is just weird.
Yeah, 92.
It always
Malcolm X for 92 was 30 years ago.
Jeez. Wow. That's just, it's before 2000 doesn't seem too long. I don't know why the 90s don't seem like a long time ago.
Ever since I've been a small child, 10 years ago meant 1990 something. 15 years ago meant 1990 something. You're telling me 15 years ago was 2007? Eat my ass.
Damn. That's American Gangster. That's after The Departed is out. That's after King Kong is out. These are 15-year-old movies. More than 15-year-old movies.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's just a part of growing up, I'd say.
Certainly.
Certainly. We only had, I guess when we were 10 years ago was our entire life. 20 now it's only half our, and as so that's how it works.
That's how things go. It's just the passage of time never ceases to amaze me though. As it has never ceased to amaze most people. It's just kind of holy shit, I didn't realize this would actually happen.
But man, 94, what a year for movies, especially for Jim Carrey.
Insane week we've had here. But so we got the genre rating. In terms of pure enjoyment, how's it stacking up?
I don't think it's a full 5.
I certainly don't. I think it's below a 4 or 5 even.
Yeah, and that's where Ace Ventura is. Makes sense. I enjoyed that movie more. That was, more.
It's a more entertaining, more fun watch for me.
This one is just strictly about the laughs. No kind of outside entertainment. It's it's
the fact that Ace Ventura was a sports movie with the animal angle. So many different animals popping up throughout the movie, and Jim Carrey's a cool character in that movie, which you automatically probably gravitate to a little bit. And this movie, while it is funny, most of the shit that is funny is simply dialogue. And I mean, the scenarios though are pretty fucking hilarious. So
okay, this kind of we gave Ace Ventura a 4 or 5 for enjoyment. We gave The Mask a 3-5. And like, if this one isn't just like kind of, it's better than The Mask. That's I enjoyed this one better than The Mask.
Certainly.
And if this is not just kind of, like a 4 kind of even seems a little low, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe
I was
like
gonna say I'd even go 4.25
okay.
on that as
like a little, not midway between Dumb and Dumber or The Mask and Ace Ventura, but like a little closer to Ace
aged
Ventura.
really poorly for me. I don't know what it was. It's just
it's just child. Like that was just more, I think, aimed towards children. Like and Dumb and Dumber is definitely more of an adult movie. Like not marketed towards kids.
I want to bone her.
Yeah. And I'd say Ace Ventura is kind of the in between.
Certainly a massive deal there.
But yeah, I think that 4.25 that seems right. Now, this is an interesting critically, as a film here, IMDb scores it I was scrolling down a lot of quotes there. Gives it a 7.3 out of 10. Wow, that's kind of, I did not expect that. I was kind of
I did not. But I'm not going to lie to you. It's, if you reduce that to a 5-star scale, it's about right where I was at with a 3.8, 3.9.
Yeah. Puts it above The Mask, but below Ace Ventura yet again. Like, yeah. Like,
I think it just makes sense.
3.9. That averages this out to a 4.32, which is just a little below Ace Ventura at a 4.42.
Perfect.
And above The Mask at a 3.5 for the Jim Carrey trilogy there. Let's see in the ballpark where this is. A 4.32 for Scarface. We enjoyed this 0.01 more than Scarface. Wait a minute. No, that's wrong.
No,
Scarface is a 3.4. Sorry, I'm only looking at the decimals whenever I like go to compare because most of them are 4s. Then I said Scarface. I'm like, wait a minute. No way. Like this is like Dumb and Dumber's up there with Scarface, right?
No, it's way above Scarface, actually.
I guess American Graffiti is pretty close at a 4.25. Let's see. A 4.42, A Clockwork Orange, so a little less than The Clockwork Orange.
All right, so we put it a little bit above American Graffiti, a little bit below A Clockwork Orange.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'd say it's in I
say it's in about the right spot.
Oh yeah,
4.32.
Oh yeah,
because that ultimately gives it an 8.6 out of 10 on our scale.
Dang,
that's
true.
It's pretty solid.
True,
pretty solid flick. And it, that genre-defining comedy status kind of saves it. That's what ultimately makes it, gives it that good of a rating because
that 4.8 helped it. That's for sure.
It is undeniably a classic, in terms of comedy. I think there's no doubt about that. And without that rating there, it's probably isn't quite that high. But you know what? I'm satisfied with where we've left it.
Oh yeah, I think it fits.
I think it fits as well. And that concludes the Jim Carrey trilogy for our week of 1994 flicks. And we've only got a couple days left. Nothing but some serious shit going forward. Tomorrow will be Pulp Fiction. Friday will be Forrest Gump, and Saturday will be Shawshank Redemption. We're all gas here on out throughout the rest of the week, so definitely looking forward to that. I was Colton Robertson, joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find well over 24 hours of exclusive content. That means, in theory, you could go to our Patreon at midnight, press play, and by the time you were done, it would be midnight the next day, at the least. It's a lot of exclusive content over there, and it all helps going back into the podcast, making sure I can afford to make it happen. It's a lot of fun. If you would, head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod, where you'll find any updates on what might be coming the next week for our 52-year journey through film. 1995 is going to might do a couple next week, but you can count on either Casino or Seven, and either or will work. And, you'll find out which one we're actually going to be covering in on Twitter. So follow at Penny Bloom Pod. Follow on Instagram at Penny Bloom Podcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to help the show grow. That'll be huge. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And our pets' heads are falling off.